Have you ever wondered if your height holds a message from your soul? At first glance, it might seem like a superficial detail, a simple measurement etched into your biology with no deeper meaning. But through the lens of Carl Jung's psychology, nothing about the human body is ever random. Your height, just like your dreams or your fears, could be a symbolic expression of the inner world you carry. Jung believed that the soul speaks in symbols, and the body is one of its clearest, most consistent mediums. Your height isn't just about physical genetics. It may carry echoes of your inner narrative, your psychological archetypes, and the way your soul chose to show up in the world. The tall, the short, the average. Each carries a different resonance, a unique energy signature. Jung saw the body not as a shell, but as a symbolic structure, a living reflection of what lies beneath. In this sense, height can be interpreted as a metaphysical metaphor, not in a fortune-teller's way, but as a subtle imprint of the roles we've come to embody in this lifetime. Could it be that your soul chose your stature to reflect a deeper mission? That the way you stretch toward the sky or stay close to the ground isn't arbitrary, but purposeful? When we observe how height affects perception, confidence, energy, and even the way others respond to us, we begin to see that this isn't just about centimeters. It's about character, influence, and soul expression. Jung's concept of the collective unconscious tells us that we're all linked to vast symbolic currents. Archetypes flow through us: warrior, sage, lover, outcast. And our physical form often channels those roles. Height may serve as a silent signal of the archetypal patterns your soul came here to embody. The towering presence of a protector, the grounded wisdom of an observer. These aren't just personality traits. They are soul roles, manifested through form. This is not a call to judge or categorize. It's an invitation to decode, to begin seeing your physical reality as a kind of sacred message, a mirror through which your inner life is reflected. Jung often said that our task is to make the unconscious conscious. And what if part of that unconscious is written into your very proportions? In this journey, we'll explore how height may reflect not just how you stand, but what your soul stands for, what it seeks, what it resists, and what it came here to express. If you've ever felt like your height shaped your place in the world, there may be a deeper truth behind that feeling, one rooted in the architecture of the soul itself. But before we dive into the archetypal meanings of different statures, a word of invitation. If you resonate with these ideas, if you're drawn to the spiritual, the symbolic, and the inner dimension of life, consider subscribing to this channel. We're not here for surface answers. We're here to uncover the silent truths that shape our paths from the inside out. So take a breath, soften your gaze, and open your mind to a new perspective. Because this isn't just about how tall or short you are. It's about why your soul might have chosen that exact form, and what it's trying to tell you through the way you take up space in the world. What if your height was never random at all, but a symbolic message chosen by your soul? Carl Jung believed that the human body, like the natural world, echoes universal patterns. Just as the seasons change and reflect different energies, spring's renewal, summer's intensity, autumn's release, and winter's stillness, your physical stature may carry its own archetypal resonance. Your body, in this sense, is not just biology. It is story. It is symbol. It is soul made visible. A tall figure stretching upward may resemble a tree reaching toward the divine, a living metaphor of expansion, vision, or even protection. A more grounded presence, closer to the earth, may carry the essence of inner stillness, depth, and sensitivity. Jung saw the body not as an object, but as an expression of archetypal truths, the soul's signature written into form. Your height, then, is more than inches or centimeters. It's a psychological fingerprint, a symbolic posture that reveals how your soul relates to the world around it. Are you called to rise and be seen, or to observe quietly from a place of depth? Either way, you are expressing something ancient and meaningful through the very way you stand. Let's consider those who are taller than average. Their very presence commands space. There's often an unconscious expectation for them to lead, protect, or assert. Jung might say such individuals embody the archetype of the guardian, the ruler, or the visionary. But with that visibility often comes pressure, the feeling of being watched, of needing to meet unspoken expectations. Their path may include learning how to carry visibility without losing authenticity. Now reflect on those whose height is below average. Their energy often moves inward. There's a deep connection to the subtle, to the invisible undercurrents in a room. Jung would associate this with archetypes of the sage, the alchemist, or the quiet healer. Souls who influence not through loudness, but through still presence. Their stature may invite others to overlook them, but within that lies a sacred power, the power to observe, adapt, and transform from within. What Jung understood deeply is that the body is never silent. It carries emotional resonance, unconscious patterns, and ancient rhythms. Your height doesn't dictate your destiny, but it does offer a symbolic lens, a kind of spiritual blueprint. A way for you to reflect on the energies you're here to integrate, the roles you may naturally attract, and the challenges your soul has chosen to grow through. This isn't a doctrine. It's a map. One that helps you see yourself more clearly. Because Jung didn't want us to be ruled by symbols, he wanted us to understand them. When you recognize the archetypes at play in your own form, you move from being unconsciously shaped by them to consciously embodying them. And perhaps the most beautiful part of this insight is that it turns something so ordinary, your height, into something sacred, into a doorway for inner reflection. A reminder that nothing in your being is random, not even the way you take up space in this world. So now we come to the deeper question. What role did your soul choose to express through your height? Not what society expects you to be, not what others assume, but what your essence is quietly revealing through your presence. Are you rising to inspire, grounded to heal, invisible to observe, or present to awaken? Whatever your height, it is not a limitation. It is language. And the soul always speaks in symbols. According to Jung's symbolic psychology, your height may echo more than just a physical attribute. It may express a specific archetype etched deep within your soul's design. These archetypes are not surface-level traits. They are ancient psychological blueprints that shape the way we relate to the world, the roles we unconsciously step into, and the lessons we're here to learn. Your natural inclinations, repeated life themes, and areas of intuitive strength often stem from these inner patterns. When you understand them, you gain not only insight, but power. You stop asking, "Why am I like this?" and begin asking, "What is this part of me trying to express?" By the way, if you're curious about exploring these deeper psychological patterns in yourself, consider checking out the SIM Method ebook. It's a short but powerful guide to integrating your shadow and finding inner clarity. Just 5 minutes a day. You can find the link in the first pinned comment below. In the sections ahead, we'll begin decoding how height, whether tall, average, or short, can serve as a symbolic indicator of the archetypal forces within you. We'll uncover how your stature may subtly influence the emotional tone you carry, the roles you unconsciously adopt, and the inner stories that have shaped your journey. But a word of clarity. This isn't about labeling or limiting anyone. Jung's archetypes aren't rigid categories. They are fluid reflections, mirrors of energy and identity. Their purpose isn't to confine, but to awaken recognition, to help you see more clearly the deeper truth that already lives inside you. So if you feel called to understand why you move through life the way you do, why certain experiences keep returning, why some roles feel natural while others feel foreign, this may offer a perspective you've never considered before. Stay with us. Because in the next section, we'll begin to unravel how different forms of height carry different symbolic frequencies, and how decoding these can reconnect you to a version of yourself you may have forgotten, but your soul has always remembered. The archetype of the guardian. For those whose height naturally draws the eyes of others, those who seem to rise above the crowd in both stature and presence, there is often more at play than just genetics. According to Jungian thought, such physical traits are not accidents of biology, but reflections of deeper inner truths. Height, especially when above the norm, can act as a spiritual echo, one that resonates with the ancient archetype of the guardian. This archetype embodies a calm, stabilizing force. Like a great oak standing firm through the storms of life, the guardian offers shelter, perspective, and silent strength. There's something grounding in their energy, something that subtly reassures others even without words. Their physical vantage point becomes a metaphor for insight, for broader vision, and for the quiet leadership that doesn't need to dominate in order to guide. Guardians often find themselves being leaned on, looked to in times of uncertainty, admired for their composed presence, and entrusted with unspoken responsibility. Even when they don't seek to lead, others instinctively follow. Their very being suggests endurance and calm under pressure. Yet as with all archetypes, there is a shadow. The same commanding presence that inspires confidence in others can quietly become a burden. Many who embody this energy find themselves internalizing the expectation to be unshakable, to hold space for everyone else while hiding their own weariness. They may become disconnected from joy, spontaneity, or the simple right to feel vulnerable. To be seen as the pillar can become a lonely role. Jung warned us that the brighter the light of an archetype, the deeper its shadow. And for the guardian, the challenge is not to shrink, but to soften. To realize that true strength is not the endless carrying of burdens, but the wisdom to set them down when the soul calls for rest. They must learn that their worth isn't found in how much they endure, but in how authentically they show up. When balanced, the guardian becomes a quiet healer, a presence that restores peace just by entering a room. Their wisdom is rarely loud but always felt. They possess the rare ability to bring order to inner and outer chaos without force, just by being fully grounded in themselves. For those who recognize themselves in this archetype, your height is not just physical. It is symbolic of the higher vision your soul carries, the ability to see beyond the moment and guide others with grace. But your journey also includes learning to step back, to rest, to laugh, and to reconnect with the lightness that makes you whole. In this symbolic frame, height becomes a doorway, not a fate, but a clue. A signpost pointing toward the roles you naturally embody in the lives of others. And Jung would urge you to look at this pattern not with attachment, but with awareness. To honor it, explore it, and expand beyond it when necessary. Because the soul is not here to repeat a script. It's here to evolve. And sometimes even the tallest among us are called not to carry more, but to simply breathe and be. The archetype of the messenger. In the subtle middle range of human stature, where one does not tower above the rest, nor move invisibly beneath the radar, there lives an energy that Jung might recognize as sacred balance. This is the realm of the messenger, the one who walks between extremes, weaving light into darkness, stillness into motion, and silence into meaning. The messenger doesn't enter a space to dominate, nor to disappear. Instead, their very presence evokes harmony. Their height, neither high nor low, becomes a physical metaphor for psychological fluidity. They are both seen and unseen, present and understated, holding the gift of movement between realms. Jung would say they represent the bridge, the archetype of connection, timing, and insight carried with gentleness. These are individuals who often feel at ease in many worlds. They speak several languages of the soul: intellectual, emotional, intuitive, and can shift their tone or role depending on what's needed. There is a quiet brilliance in their adaptability, not in the sense of compromise, but in the ability to feel the room, to read the silence, to hold space where others rush to fill it. The messenger is not about performance. Their power lies in presence. They are often the ones who see what others overlook. They notice patterns in the way someone breathes before they speak. They sense the tension beneath a smile. Because they are not physically framed as larger than life, they often develop subtle tools: emotional literacy, intuition, and a voice that resonates not in volume, but in truth. But this very gift, like all archetypal forces, comes with a shadow. The danger for the messenger is to dissolve too much, to become so attuned to the needs, energies, and stories of others that they begin to lose the thread of their own. In being the conduit for so many voices, they may forget to hear their own. This is the silent struggle of the shapeshifter, so busy reflecting the world that their own reflection grows dim. Jung would urge the messenger to remember this. The gift of bridging cannot exist without anchoring. You are not here only to translate others. You are here to embody something real. To speak your own language, even as you carry others across symbolic waters. The journey of the messenger is to balance empathy with identity, to serve as a guide, not a ghost. When in alignment, the messenger becomes a master of soul timing. They instinctively know when to enter a conversation and when to exit. When to ask the question that shifts everything. When to hold a pause so that truth can emerge on its own. They bring peace without forcing it. They unlock insight without imposing it. And it is precisely because they walk this narrow path between invisibility and visibility that their words carry so much power. The world listens not because they shout, but because they speak when it matters. And because their truth is born not from ego, but from listening, real listening, to life, to others, and eventually to themselves. For anyone who resonates with the messenger archetype, know this: your presence is not small. It is measured not in inches, but in influence, not in volume, but in depth. You are not here to fill space loudly. You are here to shift it subtly. You hold a kind of soul diplomacy that is rare and sacred, the ability to walk into tension and leave behind harmony. But in that mission, do not lose yourself. You are not just a channel for others. You are a carrier of your own message. Your height may not place you on a pedestal, but your soul speaks in echoes that ripple far beyond where you stand. Honor that voice. Speak not only for others, but for yourself. Because even the softest tone, when rooted in truth, can awaken a sleeping world, the archetype of the silent guardian. To walk close to the ground is not to be small, it is to be rooted. Those of shorter stature often move through life without the outward advantage of physical dominance, but they carry within them a rare and ancient strength, the power of quiet presence. While the world is often drawn to what is loud, large, and dramatic, Jung understood that true archetypal energy is often subtle, hidden beneath the surface, expressing itself through the body in ways that defy the ordinary eye. The silent guardian is not the loudest voice in the room, nor the one who commands attention through height, but they are often the most deeply felt. Their energy moves through the spaces in between words, between people, between moments. They sense things others overlook, like the roots of a tree or the foundations of a home. Their power is invisible, yet essential. This archetype embodies emotional endurance. People who resonate with the silent guardian often carry a history of being underestimated. But in that underestimation, something powerful is born. A quiet inner knowing, a resilience shaped not by praise, but by presence. They develop the capacity to observe carefully, to listen with their entire being, and to hold others with a kind of support that feels sacred. Their strength is not the kind that seeks recognition. It is the strength of consistency, of staying, of showing up with compassion when others collapse. Jung would say that the soul often chooses symbols to express its deeper purpose, and the stature of the silent guardian reflects that purpose clearly. It is a reminder that the most grounded souls are often the ones who carry the most light. But this role, like all archetypes, carries a shadow. In a world that too often equates visibility with value, the silent guardian may feel unseen. They may wrestle with self-worth, wondering if they matter simply because they are not tall enough, physically, socially, or vocally. They may carry wounds of invisibility, questioning whether their quiet efforts ever make a difference. And yet, that very pain is part of their path, because the lesson of this archetype is that soul power is never measured in volume or height. It is measured in impact, in presence, in how deeply others feel safe in their company. The silent guardian doesn't lead by commanding. They lead by grounding. They don't inspire through speeches. They inspire through stillness. At their best, they are the ones who anchor the energy of a room. They know when to speak, but also when to let silence do the healing. They are the steady heartbeat beneath the noise, the quiet listener who sees through facades and into truth. They are the ones others come to when the masks fall away, because they can be trusted with what is real. For the silent guardian, the spiritual journey is about embracing the beauty of their depth. To understand that being close to the earth is a form of wisdom, not limitation. Their soul speaks in whispers that echo with authenticity. And in a world craving meaning, their grounded nature becomes a guiding force. Jung might say that such souls are the keepers of hidden truths, those who hold space for others to awaken, not by pushing, but by simply being. They don't seek power, yet they hold it. They don't demand attention, yet they transform those around them. If you see yourself in this archetype, let this be your reminder. Your value was never about being seen. It was always about what you see and how deeply you care. The roots you've grown in silence will one day hold up entire forests. And though your path may not be loud, it is sacred. You are not small. You are foundational. You are not behind. You are the ground others rise from, the archetype of the equilibrator. In the quiet center of the human spectrum, where height neither demands attention nor fades into obscurity, dwells the rare soul of the equilibrator. These are individuals who move through life not in extremes, but in inner alignment. Their presence may not be the loudest, but it often becomes the most essential. They are the still point in a turning world, the quiet rhythm beneath the noise. According to Jung, this physical neutrality, neither towering nor compact, mirrors a psychic role, that of the harmonizer. The equilibrator isn't here to compete or to vanish. They are here to connect, to stand at the meeting point between opposites and bring them into conversation. Their height, positioned between sky and earth, reflects the soul's longing for unity, to live without swinging too far into dominance or disappearance. The equilibrator embodies a special kind of intelligence, not always intellectual, but deeply intuitive. They can read energies in the room like a musician reads sheet music. They instinctively feel when tension rises, when silence is needed, or when a single word can mend something invisible. Their strength is subtle. They don't impose. They invite. They don't dictate. They hold space. Because they are not externally framed by extreme stature, they are often free to develop influence from within. Their leadership is quiet, but unmistakable. They are the ones others turn to when conflict arises, not because they shout over the noise, but because their calm naturally dissolves it. They possess the rare ability to make others feel safe, without ever needing to be the center. But like all archetypes, the equilibrator walks with a shadow. Their commitment to harmony can sometimes cost them their own center. In trying to keep peace, they may suppress their own truth. In balancing others, they may neglect their own needs. There is a risk of internal fragmentation, the subtle erosion of self that comes from being the one who always smooths the edges for everyone else. Jung would urge the equilibrator to claim their middle as sacred, to understand that neutrality is not weakness, it's wisdom. But true balance must begin within. It's not enough to be the bridge. One must also know what lies on either side. And one must not be afraid to plant roots in their own truth, even as they guide others through theirs. The equilibrator is a soul who knows how to listen between words, how to move through contradiction without breaking, and how to bring harmony, not by controlling, but by being completely present. Their height is not random. It's symbolic architecture. It allows them to stand with equal reach toward the above and the below. They become the embodiment of integration, not of sameness, but of synthesis. And as this archetype stands alongside the guardian, the messenger, and the silent guardian, they complete a sacred circle. A full compass of human expression, each archetype reflecting how the soul may choose to embody its story through form. So whether your height is great or small, striking or subtle, remember this. Your body is not a mistake. It is a metaphor, a mirror, a message from the deeper self. The world may see you as just a body, measured, compared, labeled. But Jung saw something more. He saw the symbol behind the structure, the soul's handwriting etched into skin, bone, and posture. You were never just tall. You were never just average. You were never just short. You are exactly as tall as your soul needed to be, to experience, to express, and to evolve. And when you begin to read the meaning hidden in your form, you begin to walk not only through the world, but deeper into your own myth. But these archetypes are not cages. They are not here to define you, restrict you, or bind your identity in fixed roles. They are mirrors, timeless reflections of patterns moving through your life, your instincts, your emotions, and even your posture. They are names for what has always lived quietly inside you, shaping how you stand, how you respond, and how you connect with others. And maybe until now, you didn't have words for it. Maybe you've always felt that your body carried a story, but couldn't quite hear it. These archetypes give that story a shape. They don't impose it. They reveal it. They help you see the meaning in what once felt ordinary. And in that act of recognition, they offer healing. Because what the psyche longs for most is to be seen, not by the world, but by you. We live in a world obsessed with appearances, a world that constantly compares, who's taller, stronger, louder, more visible. But true stature has nothing to do with height. It has everything to do with presence. It's measured not in centimeters, but in compassion, not in inches, but in intention. Not in posture, but in the way your soul leans forward into life with courage. Carl Jung reminded us again and again, the body and the soul are not separate. They dance together. They mirror one another. And where there is disconnection, there is suffering. But where there is integration, when we begin to see our body not as a problem to be solved, but as a symbol to be honored, there, transformation begins. So what does this mean for you? If your height has made you feel different, too tall, too small, too ordinary, let that difference become your teacher. Let it show you how your soul has been trying to communicate through your form all along. Maybe your height has made you visible when you wanted to disappear, or invisible when you wanted to be seen. These experiences are not random. They are symbolic invitations. The tall are often asked to carry more than they should, but their lesson is to learn how to carry only what's theirs. The small are often overlooked, but their journey is to discover that what is unseen is often the most powerful. The ones who blend into the background may fear being forgotten, but they are often the ones who hold the most influence behind the scenes. And those who walk the middle path, the mediators, the harmonizers, must learn that balance also requires boundaries. Jung believed that integration, not perfection, is the goal of life. To make peace with every part of ourselves, even the parts shaped by what we were taught to resent. And your body, your height, your proportions. They are part of that journey. Not because they determine who you are, but because they remind you that every part of you can become a symbol of something sacred if you're willing to look deeper. Ultimately, your height is not your identity. It is your invitation. It invites you to reflect on how you take up space, how you give and receive energy, how you stand, not just physically, but psychologically. And when you bring awareness to this, something beautiful happens. You stop reacting to your form and start relating to it. You stop shrinking or overcompensating and start standing with purpose. Because standing tall is not about size. It's about soul. It's about how you show up in the room, fully present. How you listen, how you speak, how you carry your quiet strength. How you move through the world with the kind of dignity that doesn't come from being seen, but from knowing who you are, even when no one's looking. So as you leave this reflection, don't just adjust your posture. Let your posture become a prayer, a declaration that you are here to embody your truth. Not someone else's version of you, not a mold, not a mask, but the version that feels most aligned, most rooted, most free. Walk as the guardian if you're meant to protect. Speak as the messenger if you're here to carry wisdom. Stand as the equilibrator if you're here to hold the middle. And anchor as the silent guardian if your gift is unseen but unshakable. Let your height be the echo. Let your soul be the sound. And never forget, what truly lifts you is not the length of your bones, but the depth of your being.